All right, welcome back to another episode of Travel Ball Talk. I'm your host, Rich Prado, owner of Playing School. Today we're heading back down to Georgia to meet with my buddy Ryan Mingin. This is going to be a fun conversation. Ryan, welcome to the show, by the way. How you doing, man?
Rich, as always, man, I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, so before we mention the name of the club, so for the last, year or so, I've been using kind of a standard format of 4 or 5 questions that I like to go to, and so we're kind of going to jump the shark and jump right to one, because one of the questions I'm always asking the guys who are on the show is what advice would you give a guy who's just starting out, who's just starting their program, or just the guy who's just starting a facility. Okay, so you are literally going through that right now. This isn't your first rodeo, but you're rebooting, and so you're launching for Klutch Baseball, and so Klutch Baseball is over. You can find them on the internet over at Klutch Baseball GA, as in Georgia, KlutchBaseballGA.com, and Klutch at Klutch LLC over on Twitter. So that framing of the question is sort of where I want to, pick your brain a little bit, and maybe there's going to be some people listening who have been wavering about maybe starting their own thing. A few weeks back we had another coach on here who Chris Chavis from 5-Star Virginia, Virginia Beach, down in the Virginia Beach area, and he was sort of going down the same path, and he decided to jump on with an established organization. Meanwhile, you went the other way. You zigged where he zagged, and you're starting up your own. So I just want to frame this front part of the conversation like that. So, Ryan, welcome to the show again. Why don't you take a few minutes and give your background, and then we'll fast forward really quickly and get to say the last 3 to 6 months of your life and learn about Klutch.
Roger that. So yeah, my name is Ryan Mingin. I'm now CEO, Director of Operations, Recruiting Coordinator with Klutch Baseball. Previously, I've been in this industry now for 8 or 9 years, and before that, I coached college baseball for 7 years. So we actually owned our own academy in South Carolina, 2013 to 2018. Then we went to work for somebody, 2018 to just recently, and now we are Klutch Baseball, right? So it's kind of been a whirlwind of how everything transpired and what happened over the past 3 or 6 months, to where, like you said, your buddy Chris Davis in Virginia Beach.
Chavis.
Chase, I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry. Shout out to Chris.
Whether it was hopping on with an already established brand and or starting our own, and we took our time. We did our due diligence. We did what we were supposed to do. We were courted by some organizations that we sat down and we met with, and we heard everybody out, and everybody that we spoke to, I feel like are awesome at what they do, right? There was a lot of national brands that we spoke with within that 30-day period, and they all brought something that was super unique, whether it was 500 teams worldwide, or whether it was just more local, but they're winning national championships, or whatever that niche of it was. And I just felt that where we were at in this stage of our careers was to kind of bet on myself. Or ourselves. And if I felt like if I didn't give myself that opportunity, then I would look back and say, what if? Because I've learned a ton over the past 8 months running my own business and then working for somebody else. And I felt like I was able at this point to finally put it all together and make a brand that's going to be, nationally recognized.
So we've got Ryan Mingin on the line, and you've heard him say "we" a few times. If you pull up the coaches page on the Klutch Baseball website, you'll see his brother Corey Mingin. So that's the we. He's not talking in universal we's. He is literally talking about him and his brother, who are at this together, right? You guys are.
Yes, we're at this together, and then we have one other partner who is an owner of the New York Yankees that we felt backed us. He's watched what we've done the past year or two, and he wanted to help out in the business relations of it, in the business world of it, and he brought. It was a no-brainer for us to do what we do and have a partner that has worldwide relationships, that has the business knowledge, that's obviously involved in baseball on a day-to-day basis, right? Being an owner of an MLB team, it was just a really good opportunity for us to work together and create our brand.
Yeah, for sure. Now, when you were going through this, were there some of the conversations with other guys, with some of these other brands, and you're like, man, that would make life really easy, or this would be, we could come in and bring something to the table for them as well. Did you ever, were you close to jumping in with some of those other guys?
Yes, I was. Some of the opportunities that were given to us were financial based, that could have really, really made a difference moving forward. But I don't think that we've ever gotten into this business for it to be a business, right? We've never looked at it as we're going to make $1 million, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And call me what you want, right? My niche, I guess, is the baseball portion first, business second, to where they looked really good on paper, and the wife and the kids would have probably loved it at the time, but I just felt as though it was time for us to grind it out. And I wanted security. We wanted security in this, right? We want to have our own to where we can control its destiny.
It's so interesting that you use that phrase because a lot of people would think that security is actually the opposite. It's working for somebody else. Mm-hmm. The reality is it's not, because you're at the whim of them making payroll, right? And this isn't just for the baseball world, man. This is life. Sometimes you feel you work for a big company and your paycheck's guaranteed. It's not. You ever heard of Enron? Open one day, close the next. Right? You ever heard of Circuit City? Open one day, close the next. So what somebody at Circuit City a decade ago, or longer than that now, they felt security, and then one day their paychecks didn't cash. All right? It's like bananas to think about. And so in your definition and my definition of security is just like do it yourself. Just like, hey, that's how I've been 14 years of. I'm going to go out into the woods. I'm going to find a deer and get it and haul it home, and that's what we're eating. That's the deal.
We'll figure it out. Yeah, and it makes you work harder, right? Obviously, because you're representing yourself, your family. This is a family brand, so you're representing each other, and you don't want to let anybody not get paid. You don't want to let anybody starve. You want to try to help out as many people as possible. And off air, we were talking about some things that we have going moving forward, where I'd mentioned a number to try to get somebody in. And, that's where my brain is. I want to help people in this world, because I was a college coach that made $11,000 a year at one point. Or I was a coach that, made a $1,600 stipend at one point, where I was working 3 different jobs. So it's not a job if you love what you do. Mm-hmm. Obviously, that's like the most cliche thing, on the planet, but it's for real. I'm genuine when I tell you that I absolutely love what I do and how I can help kids in the baseball world. Like, we've been around it for so long. I feel like we need to give some of the knowledge, and we need to give some of the love that we have for it. We have to share it.
You mentioned brand. I think this is a good time to talk about this branding. You gotta, for listeners at home, pull up the Twitter, pull up the website. What we're looking at here, logo wise, is a home plate. If you can visualize this, home plate and then in the middle of it, taking up basically the entire inside part of the plate is a K, except it's a backwards K, and so the vertical line of the K, the backwards K, is also the vertical line of the B for Klutch Baseball. Who did that, by the way? Who did it? It's pretty rad.
My wife.
Get out of here.
She's a graphic designer. No, like that's what she does. So
yeah.
when we had sat down and we had discussed everything, you know, we obviously we determined that we wanted to do Klutch with a backwards K, again for branding purposes, to where you can spin it off into pitching programs, hitting stuff. Like you could do so many different things with it. So we can keep the K single, we can keep the KB, we can get rid of the plate, all those things, just for branding and marketing reasons.
And it's in kind of a reflective gold sort of feel to it. It's pretty cool. Like, hey, I hope she charged a lot of money for that, because it's pretty it's pretty good. She did a good job.
And we did the gold because we were kind of spinning off on something that we have done in the past, and that we've kind of been like our quotes was the gold standard. Like we try to make everything that we do gold, right? Like, because it's the gold standard. It's just a professional way of doing things.
Gotcha.
We hope that we're living up to that standard, by the way.
Yeah, I like that. Okay. I like hearing a little inside baseball on some of these things. Sometimes a logo is just a logo, but sometimes it's a little deeper, a little more meaning. Here's a little pro tip. If that little phrase isn't already on the website somewhere, you should put that on there. A little about section perhaps, with some background. I like that. Gold standard. Pretty cool stuff. Now, so I was trying to scroll back, but I'm not going to do it. It's just easier to ask. When did Klutch officially? When was Klutch officially born? Which month?
The end of October. So
okay, in the fall.
We had left our previous employer in October 5th, 4th-ish, and then we headed down to Jupiter kind of as free agents. And like I said, it was a whirlwind. It was like 3 weeks of meetings and phone calls and trying to figure out exactly what I was doing or what we were doing, and if what we were going to do was going to be the right thing, right? Because I wasn't just looking out for myself here. I was looking out for, my family and my brother who's been here with me since day one, and guys who I have in South Carolina that are my brand now. Those guys have been with us since we started it, and I wanted to make sure that they were going to be involved in this thing to see it through, And so Klutch is born late fall 2021, and we're recording this February 2nd, 2022. So it's been literally like 3 months. Yep. Have you gotten your first couple guys signed up for next summer? Yeah, we're doing really good right now. We have 2 youth teams in Tennessee. We have 2 youth teams in South Carolina. We'll have 2 youth teams down here in LaGrange, Georgia, and then we'll have 5 or 6 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 high school teams this summer.
And you already have players for all those teams?
All the rosters are done
in literally like 2 to 3 months. That's pretty good work. It's pretty good work.
It was fun, and I think that was just a testament to the guys that I have around me, of building their own brand and their own names throughout all this, and the relationships that we've had.
And I'm scrolling a Twitter account, and I'm seeing kids from kind of all over.
Yeah.
So you're sort of at the high school age group. You're like, hey, we're getting after it. This is a national sort of recruiting team.
National thing. Yeah. We have guys this year in our summer. We have guys from Nebraska, Tennessee, Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, Pennsylvania, and New Jersey. 7 different states, I think, are represented in our high school program.
Incredible. And you've been out the gate for 2 to 3 months.
2 to 3 months.
Pretty good, man. Pat on the back. How do How's a guy from LaGrange end up with players out of New Jersey and Pennsylvania?
Just being in the baseball world. I'm from New Jersey originally, so I still have a lot of connections up there.
Makes sense.
I coached college baseball in Oklahoma. I went to school in Nebraska. Obviously, I've been here for quite some time, so it's just, again, building relationships and where you've been and having guys trust you and trust what you're going to do with them, you know, and that's how it works.
It's all about the Rolodex. For you young kids listening, a Rolodex is sort of like your contact list in your phone. That's an old-timey phrase for contact list. But your network is I mean, it's everything. It's everything. And we talk about this on here all the time, and hopefully young coaches that are listening are hearing that, and hopefully any kids that are listening are locking in on that. And man, it's all about handshakes, relationships, getting to know people, becoming friends, helping people, and so that when you're in need of help, they're right there ready for you.
Absolutely.
Do you guys? So these kids are from everywhere, so there's not going to be like this. You know, there's not like a local home base facility right there in LaGrange or anything, is there?
No, we do. So we were very, very fortunate enough. There's a private high school here. It's called LaGrange Academy. So we were fortunate enough to work with them hand in hand, and that's our field that we get to use. And we're also donating an indoor facility right there on their campus, which will be, you know, a Klutch indoor facility that LaGrange Academy has going to have access to, and we're going to have access to it, and it's going to help out the community. And it was just a really, really good opportunity that kind of fell in our laps. And yeah, it was a blessing for sure.
I'm trying to pull it up. Is that a grass field, turf field? What do you guys have over there?
It's grass.
I mean, you're in Georgia, so makes sense.
Yeah, and it's a super small school, like super small school. But we're helping out. We're helping with that high school program, with that middle school program. It's literally a school from K to 8.
Okay.
And then it's their high school, right? So it's K through 12 all in the same building that we can. But once they get into 8th grade, obviously, you know that they can either stay at that private school or go to a public school. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to build it and help the program out enough to where, you know, the kids want to stay. They don't want to go to the public schools. They want to stay in-house and play for LaGrange Academy, you know?
I just pulled up an aerial map of LaGrange. I see the field there, but I see like right down the street it says there's a stadium. Do you know that stadium? Phil Williamson Stadium at Cleveland Field. You know that place?
In LaGrange?
Yeah, it's like right around the corner from you.
No.
Yeah, I wonder what that is. Wait,
I wonder if it's like an old aerial view.
It is.
Maybe it's like an old dilapidated field that I just don't even know where it is.
It looks like an old Tommy park. I'll send it.
That.
I'll send it to you.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. That might be the future home.
That's where my brain's spinning right now.
And then right next to that, there looks like a couple of, like across the street from there, there's another, looks like 2 fields, but those look like youth fields, skin-in fields. Or maybe softball.
And we have the rec complex here as well, that has a huge enrollment in the rec here in LaGrange. So anytime that we can get out and we can, you know, do camps and clinics and stuff, you know, we do that.
Well, listen, this is congrats on spinning this thing up, and you know, it's like you think, hey, I'm gonna throw a shingle out there, put my name out on a front door, and hopefully some people walk through and they dig what we do and become partner up with us and become customers and clients for life.
Yeah.
And in literally like in a couple months, you basically sold out the summer, which is awesome. So, you know, let's fast forward now. Let's talk about travel ball sort of at a high level, and look at like, well, you know, what are your plans for the summer, and and then sort of ease into some of those other, some of the other questions I like to ask about how do we improve this thing that we're all doing, this travel ball thing that we're doing. But what are the plans for your high school guys next summer? Where are y'all headed?
So right from Jump Street, when me and my brother Corey, obviously, who's been my right-hand man, right? I coached him in college, and as soon as he graduated, he came out, and we've been doing this together ever since. So he's our director of operations. He's our pitching coordinator, but he's also the guy that I bounce all my ideas off of, whether they're stupid or whether they're really good. An idea is an idea, right? And sometimes he keeps me grounded. So one of the things that we were discussing is, if we go off on our own, are we still going to have the ability to play in the national invite tournaments?
Yeah.
Whether it's Perfect Game, the PG Elite, or the PG Select, whether it's PBR's National Program Invitational, or whether it's Prospect Selects World Series and all the other tournaments. And we solidified those bids to those events, and I think that's what kind of made the decision a little bit easier, knowing that our guys are still going to play in the best events in the country against the best players in the country.
Got it.
Which is our biggest thing, right? That's what we've designed our brand to be, is playing the best against the best and get guys committed,
Gotcha. So
in doing that, we also needed to surround ourselves with other like-minded individuals, right? So we created an advisory board with former big leaguers that we can also bounce ideas off of, and we can have them involved. We have the ability with our partner Grant to talk regularly with, the Yankees organizational coaches and scouts. There's times where we can do those things. We wanted to make sure that we had a media presence. So we hired Black Cobra Media for our pictures and our videos, our hype videos, all that stuff that we're going to roll out this summer. And Black Cobra Media has been one of the biggest brands here in the state of Georgia over the past 2 years. He's phenomenal at what he does.
It's amazing. I mean, I can't even imagine telling a guy 20 years ago at the advent of travel baseball hey man, in 20 years you're going to need an on-staff media guy. That would blow people's minds away. But that's the world we live in. It's like putting, listen, the opposite's still true. I actually tweeted just a couple days ago that it would probably blow the minds of a lot of people to know that there's travel ball teams and organizations that have zero Twitter presence.
Yep.
And still manage to get every single one of their guys signed. So it's not like it's not 100% mandatory, but you know what? It certainly helps. It helps. It doesn't. Now I was going to say it doesn't hurt, but you can do some things that hurt you. Like if you're an idiot on Twitter, it can backfire and can shoot yourself in the foot. But as long as you're,
I'll tell you what we did was we hired a lady, Lisa Caprera, who is the Yes Network, which we all know what the Yes Network is.
Oh man.
Yes Network is obviously, the New York Yankees network. And she's the in-game stadium host with the New York Yankees. So we hired her. She's a young girl, 24, 25 years old, and she's awesome. She played college soccer. And we hired her to kind of just overlook and make sure that I didn't get Twitter fingers.
Oh.
And make sure that the stuff that we're putting out, the content we're putting out is going to be beneficial, and it's going to be representing our brand in a professional manner.
Mm-hmm.
So that helps, right? Again, you surround yourself with people that are better than you at what you do, and that's, I think, how the wheels continue to turn.
Yeah, for sure. That's that's cool. Now I got a question just popped into my head. You keep referring to your partner who's I don't know if he's a majority. I don't know if he owns 1% of the Yankees. Whatever, doesn't matter. Was there ever any talk of making this a Yankees branded scout team? And I say that because we just had Manny Beltran on the podcast out of North Carolina, and he's running an East Coast Dodgers scout team, and these guys they're wearing Dodger blue, man.
They're wearing Dodgers.
It's pretty cool. So, was there ever any talk about putting the Yankees name? Is that something they would even do?
We are working through that as we speak.
Ah.
I don't have a definitive answer for you. I don't have a yes. I don't have a no. Do I think that it could be an opportunity at some point?
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
Uh-huh.
But again, we have to make sure that we're representing our brand in a professional manner, especially if that ever came out, because that particular organization is one of the elite of the elite of the elite.
Yeah.
You know, that you're talking about something different. So could it be possible? Yes. Am I saying it's going to happen? No.
Mm-hmm.
We just do what we do and we keep it moving. Whether it happens or doesn't happen, I think that we're in a really good spot of representing our brand and representing the players that wear our uniform, you know?
Would you be able to give up the golden backwards K for?
Yes.
You would. That was pretty quick. You answered that before I even finished asking it.
Listen, and especially in today's world where we're at, you know, when you're in the WWBA or when you're in the PG Elite or the Prospect Select World Series or the PBR MPI, any of those tournaments that we're mentioning, a lot of these big major organizations right now are representing a professional team, and I think it goes hand in hand, right? Like professional the draft has went from 50 rounds to 40 rounds to now 20 rounds. Mm-hmm. Well, they're eliminating, because of COVID, they're eliminating some scouts, some regional guys, some of this, some of that. So I think it's a really good opportunity for MLB to create these scout teams to basically have a first-hand look at these players in not a scouting mind. Like you're going to be able to get to see these kids behind the scenes, on the field, with their moms and dads, with their girlfriends, because you're with them every day for 2 months. Yeah. I mean,
interesting.
If that doesn't help the scouting world, I don't know what's going to.
For sure. You
know what I mean? And I mean, there's tons of them out there now.
No, it's definitely increasing, and you'll see some that pop up just for certain events. But then you got guys like the East Coast Dodgers scout team that's going to be a year-round thing. So it's definitely a growing trend, something to keep an eye on at least.
Absolutely. And it would obviously be an awesome opportunity. I don't know if it ever gets to that, but it would be an absolute honor to wear the NY, you know.
Oh, for sure. It'll be. I'm kind of keeping my eye on MLB and watching if they ever decide to go all in on the travel baseball world. It'd be pretty interesting.
Yeah, absolutely.
So okay, beyond the scout team stuff, beyond that, what are you looking forward to as far as like where do you see little places to improve or little places to help your guys just a little bit more to pick up a little bit of an advantage for their process, which is at the end of the day, that's what this is about.
Yep. So I think that, along with the social media presence, right, along with Twitter, and I think that when I was on here before, we had discussed Twitter, and I think that now, there's platforms out there that have a one-stop shop for recruiting to where you can, play in school sports.
Hey now.
Hey, let me give a shout out.
Yeah, shout out to Rich Prado.
But like your platform, the ability to have all of my guys in one spot with their metrics, with their videos, with their tweets, with their information, phone numbers, all that stuff in one spot, I think cleans up a lot of the hecticness in my life, because that's my niche. Again, we talked about this in the beginning of this podcast, was everybody has their own niche, whatever that is. And I feel like my niche is I truly enjoy, when I coach college baseball, being a recruiting coordinator. So I truly enjoy talking to the college coaches on a daily basis and seeing what their needs are and who fits where, and trying to get my guys committed constantly, whether it's a Power 5 guy. We got a left-handed hitting guy that's committed to Mississippi State. Our shortstop's committed to Georgia. Third baseman's committed to Kent State. But then we also have guys that are committed to, East Georgia State College, Florida Southwestern, Montreat College, Erskine. We have Division I to Division III to NAIA to JUCO.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, the thrill of it. And, like, the competitiveness is working your butts off for these guys to get them committed. Because they're working their butts off for you now, right? So it's like a disservice if you're not doing that for them, in my eyes. So I tell everybody, I'm going to work my butt off for you. Once you commit to me and you wear our uniform and our brand, we're going to work our butts off for you to get you to play at the next level.
Right on. And to be clear, I wasn't trying to set Coach up to give me a shout out.
But I did. You see how I did that, though?
I do appreciate that. And I actually consciously try to avoid talking about myself on here. And for those who are listening, because maybe you saw a tweet or something and you saw that Coach Mingin was going to be on the call, and you don't have any idea what he's talking about. My day job, man, just go to playinschool.com/platform and you'll learn all about it. We've got a ton of teams who have all of their guys with all of their metrics, their videos, their grades, their contact info, their tweets, everything. It's essentially a resume those kids build and maintain, and it costs next to nothing. So there's the promotional advertisement right there. So back to you, Coach.
Listen, you didn't have to talk about yourself. I did it. So you're crystal clear, brother.
So I'm still pumped. So you roll this thing out 2-3 months later, rosters are full. Look out a year. What are some things we can do just as a high level 30,000 foot view? What are some things we can improve or tweak to make this thing even better? Not just Klutch, but I'm just talking about travel ball in general. Where are some spots to kind of clean up the edges a little bit?
Man, it's such a difficult question, right? Because this, again, it goes back to everybody has a different thing that they're good at. I feel if we can be on board with the high school coaches more and the college coaches more, us as the travel ball world, and not fighting against some of the guys, to do things like some of the power struggle that comes. I think a lot of baseball players are alpha males, right? So I think there's a lot of, banging the chest, and, I'm guilty. I think a lot of us would be in some way, shape, or form. I just feel as though if we could all work better together, then it's going to give the kids, because at the end of the day, it is about the player, right? So it's not necessarily about Ryan Mingin or Klutch baseball. It's about the kids that we have in our program, because they're the ones who make our brand or our organization grow. So, it's
great takeaway. It's a great takeaway. It's bring the high school guys in, high school coaches into the fold. I feel like, I mean, this is like I don't think this is a specific comment about any particular person or team, but it feels like over the last few years there's been a heightened priority of travel ball from a recruiting standpoint, and then you could almost feel how maybe the high school guys feel like they're becoming disengaged or less involved or less important, which is you don't want that. You want them in the fold. You want them cooperating, and if nothing else, you need to be communicating to make sure that the kids' health and the kids' best interest is top of mind for everybody. And so I think that's a really important point to hammer home, and hopefully people are doing it. And they're, you got let's say 100 guys in your organization. I doubt that's 100 different high schools. It could be, could be more like 50 to 50 to 70. build those relationships, find
Absolutely.
out who these people are, get them in the fold, make sure you're following them on social, make sure they're following you. They can keep up with your, with what their guys doing during the summer. They can help amplify messages. Yeah, man, there's no downside in having good relationships with the high school guys. So
absolutely not. And it comes back down to like the communication piece, right? I feel like just everybody's communication has to get better, whether it's with the players or to the parents or to the high school coaches or to the college coaches. Communication is key,
for sure.
And transparency, right? Transparency. I think that's one of the good things that we do is, we're pretty transparent in everything we do, right? We're not going to tell a kid that he's going to play Power 5 if, he's probably not, But yeah, I mean, transparency in all aspects, I think is transparency and communication and just being on the same team with all the other coaches.
Yeah, good point. Good, well put. Coach, I think this is probably a good place to sort of start towards wrapping it up. Is there any other like sort of, parting shots that you wanted to make sure anybody still listening hears?
Listen, if you guys are listening, just feel free to follow us on our social media accounts. Klutch @Klutch LLC is our Twitter. KlutchBaseballGA.com is our website. Our phone numbers are our contact information is on there. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, reach out. And we hope to see everybody this summer, right? I look forward to the summer because not just we're out on the field playing, but I get to continue to network and shake hands with some of the guys that I, genuinely respect in this world and or the college world or high school world. And there's no other place I'd rather be right now, Rich, to be honest with you, man. I'm super excited for the future. I'm excited for the opportunity for you to let me come on here, and share that with everybody that listens. And
well, it's cool. Like I can hear the excitement. Listen, you could have hooked on with one of any number of different existing clubs, and that would have been great. And honestly, they would have benefited greatly from having you, and you would have benefited from being with them, and that would have been awesome. But doing your own thing and like you said earlier, betting on yourself, man, it's exciting. So you can hear that.
It's exciting and it's scary at the same time.
Yeah, man, go. Go. You got to now. You got to get out there and you've already. The first step is there's players who are going to wear the uniform. Like that's the first
Absolutely.
step. You did that. Now hopefully you can, when you get out there this summer, you can have some positive things happen. And then that doesn't necessarily mean going 50-0 next summer, but just some positive things. You want to see some good stuff on the field from those guys wearing those uniforms. So listen, hang on one second. I'm going to stop the recording, but don't go anywhere.